Hello, everybody. Today is Manwan Monday, May 1st.
yeah,
It is the right, first day of a brand new month. And we are here to discuss episodes 8 and 9 of Survivor 44. I'm actually really excited to get into these two episodes. I feel like there's been a lot of good stuff going on. It's been a great season, I think, so I can't wait to get into it. Let's kick this sucker off, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, everybody. My name is John Dunphy, and I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic tribe mates, Mr. Kyle Petty, Miss Gina Morgino, and the incomparable Mikey Marmon.
Wow.
Oh, he's incomparable. Damn. Okay.
Wow. We're just tribe mates. All right.
Yeah, to hell with us, I guess.
Let me go
Fine.
make sure I get the
Jesus, my
fire
God.
going.
Wow.
So everybody else kidding.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Everybody just calm down. Just calm down. We are Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. If you want to find us on the socials, you can do so at Strat Chat Pod, or head over to our beautiful website, which was created by Kyle Petty, www.stratchatpod.com. Okay. Where do we even begin here? There's been a lot going on. The dynamics of this game have been crazy to me because you've had Ratu and Soka. We keep hearing in these episodes, Ratu and Soka are going to war, right? They're going to war. And then you've got Tika there. Just kind of play in the middle. And I can kind of understand. Yeah, I can kind of understand like why that has been like the attitude in the game, because Ratu and Soka going into prior to the merge, it felt like they were doing most of the winning of these challenges and stuff. Tika felt like they were really scraping by. But as we see in episode 9, every tribe's got 3 members still remaining. So it actually feels pretty even. But so, what do you guys think about, just the dynamics of this game? And how it seems like Ratu and Soka feel like they're so on top, with Tika just kind of being stuck in the middle. And any thoughts on this, the way this game has been shaken out post-merge?
Yeah, it's really interesting because, I mean, even from the Tika and Soka have always been even post-merge. So it's literally there. It's just, it goes back to what we've been talking about for the whole season, where it's like they're underestimating. I mean, Carolyn, of course, but like Jam and Carson. Carson. Like they're even. It happened. Franny even mentioned to Danny at one point. She was like, "Why don't we go for?" I don't remember if it was Carolyn or Jam specifically, but she mentioned one of them, and Danny was like, "No, that's ridiculous. Why would we do that? That's bad gameplay." And it's really interesting, the fact that they're so underestimated, because at this point, like, they're running the game without a doubt.
Wild to me, because I don't know if that's just we're seeing more because the edit is giving us more than what they're seeing, but I don't understand how we have such a different perspective of the 3 of them than everybody else. It's completely different.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder if it's too, because we've seen Tika from the beginning. We've gotten to see them at every tribal council, and I think that's another thing, is the fact that they have all these tribals under their belt is an advantage that I think is going under the radar for the other tribes. I just don't think they're thinking of the fact that they are underprepared for these tribals, whereas Tika's, they're all pals at it.
Yeah. I think Franny, that conversation you were talking about, Mikey, I think Franny, it was bringing up to Danny splitting votes on Carolyn and Jam, and then voting out Jam. I think on the revote, I think was her plan. But I suppose I do kind of see Danny's side, because I guess he's feeling like we have to keep numbers that might work with us in the game as long as we can, whereas opposed to if we take Tika out now, then we'll be left with the Ratu members, and they have all the advantages, the extra vote and the idol and everything like that, even though Jamie's idol is fake. So.
Fake and also out of the game now.
Yeah.
Oh, my baby.
Every time when she speaks and they're like, has one fake idol right next to her, it
At
hurts.
least I still have an idol. One fake idol.
Yeah, she was going off like, I
Oh,
can't believe I even still have this idol. This is incredible. And it's like, like it's just so bad.
Extra votes gone now too. Jamie she gave it to Jamie, and Jamie used it this last tribal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, what? Okay, so I could be wrong. The knowledge is power, because that came up in these episodes.
Mhm.
There was a point where Lauren passed her extra vote to Jamie to hold. Jamie passed her fake idol to Kane to hold because of this knowledge is power thing. But isn't the phrasing of that like the person, whoever, could potentially hold the knowledge is power, could just ask the person they suspect of having an advantage, like, do you have an advantage? So
from my memory, it had to be like either do you have an idol or do you have like an advantage or whatever it is. So
it
like,
actually had to be worded that way.
Yes.
You had to know what they
if
had.
I ask you if you have an advantage and what you have is an idol, I don't get it. If I ask someone if they have an idol and what they have is an advantage, I don't get it.
Okay.
That's the knowledge part.
Right. Because I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, because I couldn't remember what the exact wording was or how the twist worked. So I was thinking to myself, like, why would you, as Lauren, why would you pass any advantage to her? Because if that person now asks Lauren, do you have an advantage, whether it's an idol or an advantage, depending on how the wording is supposed to be, I feel like that person might ask Jamie thinking that she has an idol, but then end up getting the extra vote instead because Jamie still has something on her person at tribal. But if it has to be specifically those words, then yeah.
I also think at this point in the game, or at that point in the game, it was pretty common knowledge what each of them had. Right. So I think the idea of just like mixing it up and lowering those chances of whoever mystery person that this non-existent knowledge is power advantage was going to be from couldn't guess, had a lower chance of guessing who had what, I think was the... And I mean, it was a smart play. It's well within the realm of possibility that advantage existed. It probably would have existed if Matt had gotten that advantage instead of losing 2 votes right at the top. I would imagine that would have been the third one.
I was trying to remember if somebody had ever had it and just left with it or something.
Not this season, no.
Okay.
I don't ever want to see it again. I think it's stupid.
Yeah, although it did give us that great moment in 41 with Xander
and what's her face? Tiffany.
No.
Evie.
Liana.
Yeah.
That was 41, so it was 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Xander before we came on.
Xander. My guy.
Yeah.
Got robbed. Not a single vote.
Poor guy.
Damn.
Poor guy.
Sad. But no, I don't like that advantage. I think it's stupid. Yeah, you got one good moment. Okay. But otherwise, like, do you have an advantage? No. Okay.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, don't. You didn't even need to edit this in then, did you? Like, I didn't need this at all. Like,
right.
No effect.
It did give us a good moment, but it was also like a good moment because of how spectacularly that specific power failed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. It's very true.
But
what are you gonna do?
If used correctly, it could be interesting.
That's the thing with all of these advantages and twists and stuff. If they were to go the way that I imagine it's going in Jeff's brain, then they're exciting and fun. But they never work out the way that you want them to. Yeah. It always gets messed up somewhere along the way, and just kind of becomes anticlimactic.
Right.
Is the case with like advantages or twists or whatever in these shows. Like it's always in theory so good and it never lives up to expectations.
Yeah.
Even the case with like the fake idols in this season.
Yeah.
It's like if we had a couple like those moments where I don't think anyone ever try to use a fake idol? Did it ever happen? No.
Flopper.
Flop.
There were like 5 of them and none of them ever got used.
And the one that was left just left in Kane's
Just
stock.
left, yeah.
Oh man.
That's so disappointing. But see, here's the thing though. The knowledge is power. Like, has it always, like, when it's been attempted to use, has it always been used by someone that was like trying to catch like a non-ally in the game? Because I think that the knowledge is power could be very interesting if it was used in a point of the game where an ally decided, okay, it's time to take out my number 1 or number 2 now.
Mhm.
And I know that they have it. They would never suspect me. And maybe they've kept this knowledge of power to themselves. And so it's like they're using it in a way to blindside and backstab an ally, which maybe that was like the intended purpose.
I mean, in a perfect world, that would be great, but
Major Jesse energy there.
Yeah. Jesse and Cody energy there. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Oh man. Okay. I actually I have a little video clip here.
Oh no.
This was one of my favorite moments so far of the whole season. And because I wanted to ask you guys about so now that we're into, because we've talked about like some of these immunity challenges, right? Like we don't really love when they're broken up into teams or things like that, right? But we had 2 different types of immunity challenges in these 2 episodes. Episode 8, we saw people working as pairs, right, and partners. And then episode 9, we were back to standard, single immunity challenge. But before we get into like the challenges themselves, I kind of wanted to ask, I just want to show this clip. This is one of my favorite things. I felt really bad for Carson dealing with his stomach issues this week, but Carolyn, right away,
Oh, poor
volunteered to be his
Carolyn.
partner. But this is how.
Oh, poor Carolyn.
Carolyn, you're doing great.
Very quick. Like, in there, like,
So good.
Challenge, you just hear her screaming. I was like, oh no, she's never getting out. She lives there now.
It was perfect. It was perfect. I liked the pairs. I thought that was fun, especially because like we have then like you have that time at the end where the pairs are split. I didn't mind that so much, and the fact that it gave us that moment, it's oh man, so good. Yeah. I read an interview, I think, of where that Carson, or he tweeted something along the lines of like, oh yeah, I was not trying to encourage her very much. I did not want to get in that mud. That was all purposeful, which makes it even.
It was just so funny because like you hear Jeff being like, "Oh, he doesn't even have energy to speak," and he's just in the corner like, "Keep going, Carolyn.
Right.
Yeah, you got it. Just twist a little bit." And I was like, "Oh my god."
Well, I thought that was actually the funnier moment here was at the very end when like Carson was like, "Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to like get in, aren't I?"
Yeah.
And like there was like that little like look of defeat, like he very slowly like into it. He's like, "Damn it!" He's like, "You couldn't just be like a little bit slower or give me an actual shot. I have to get in this mud. I already know we lost. Like, am I
doesn't
really
matter?"
Do this? Yeah.
At that point, he was like, "Oh man, bro, just don't do it. No one's gonna judge you. Come on."
I wouldn't have judged. It was over. I mean, they were already like, knee deep in the sand as far as getting those planks out. It was over, and everyone knew you were sick. Like, so now you just get to roll around the mud for no good reason.
It was just the slow crawling of like, okay, here I go.
Gina, that's how I imagine you would play that challenge.
What the hell? You think I wouldn't give it my all?
I would give up.
Not if there was mud involved.
I know I would hate that competition, like getting into that twisted net.
I would hate it, but I'd play.
Like, well, of course, but like you're trying to get out one way, so like, it's twisted up in front of you, and then the more you like slowly make any kind of progress up in front, it gets twisted up more behind you. So if you start to struggle with it, now you're just stuck on both ends.
Yeah. I would just start crying. You have to cut me out of it. There's absolutely no way. It seems what?
No, I would get so claustrophobic in there.
Oh, see,
that would be my problem. It's not the mud; it's getting stuck in the net that would be my problem. I would get so claustrophobic and anxious in there.
Somebody's hair gets stuck one year.
Like, there's nowhere to go. Just like perfect.
You'd take a nap in there.
I would love to cocoon if possible. Like.
Yeah, in the mud.
Also mud, comfy.
Mike, come on.
How many like mud puddles have you laid in to know how cozy it is?
Me and my sister used to.
Just don't need answering, John.
This shouldn't even be an
backyard, and we would just like make mud to play in.
Huh.
to plan.
All right. I mean, hey.
My mom did not like it very much.
Yeah, I can't imagine she would.
I wouldn't imagine that'd be her favorite.
I did. So I wanted to ask though, because like, so I know you said you like the pairs, Mikey. Kyle, Gina, did you guys like breaking people into pairs, even though it ended up being a more individual thing at the end? Did you like the pair aspect to this competition?
I don't mind pairs if it's for like a competition. Once you're like playing in pairs for a while, it bothers me. But for something like this, I wasn't against it.
I liked it.
Okay. I didn't necessarily mind it either. I do think there's something interesting to the fact though, because like, and obviously it really didn't play a role in this, because in Carson and Carolyn's partnership, Carolyn was really the problem, honestly, as much as I love her. But like it just, especially this late in the game, everybody's banged up, people are sick or whatever. Like it does like present an interesting thing to me where you're gonna, you know, it's highly likely, like we saw with Carolyn and Carson, like nobody was gonna want to play with Carson. You know, like Carolyn is awesome, so she was right away was like, yeah, I'll play with you, Carson, no problem. But like, what do you think of the like, just sort of that aspect of it, of like, you know, you might have pairs that might link up right away, and then you're left with someone being forced to be with someone that's injured or sick or something like that. Like, is that fair? Like, would you rather every competition just be an individual thing at this point, like so that everybody's on a level playing field and nobody's injury or illness is affecting another player's game at this late stage in the game?
I don't know. I think the issue I have is that we still haven't just had a straightforward everyone plays for themselves individual immunity challenge. That's the only thing that bothers me. I don't think it's so much. I think there's something to the fact that at this point in the game, you are now all of a sudden relying on another person again. I think that's, yeah, I don't know. It didn't bother me so much beyond the fact that I would love to just see everyone compete together in an immunity challenge. Straightforward. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I can feel that. Like I think I'd be, not that I was bothered by the pair so much, but I don't think it would even be a thought to me if we had gotten, you know, what the first two challenges. So I guess in that purgatory period, we had two teams. Then the first competition after the merge, we had two teams. So it's like if you had individual competitions going on there, and then all of a sudden now you threw us this pairs competition, it wouldn't feel as much like, all right, can we just do a competition where everybody's just competing one on one?
Yeah.
You know, like
yeah.
So
I feel you on that. Absolutely.
Okay, all right. But that first immunity challenge we saw Lauren take it, actually.
Yeah.
Loved it. Woo! Loved it because Danny was trying to sell her short. I don't want her. I don't want her. I guess I'll take her, and then she wins. So like,
Danny has been so much more arrogant. Like, have I just not noticed it, or has it been worse this last couple episodes?
I think we've just not seen a lot of him up to the last couple episodes because we've seen mostly Tika.
Sure.
Yeah. I do think that a little bit it's gotten a little worse, because I did enjoy even that whole thing of him getting the idols from the birdcage and taking the real one for himself and then going to the lengths that he did to you know, hide the fake one. Like, I did enjoy some of that from him. So while I do think we are definitely just seeing more of him now, I feel like it has gotten a little bit worse.
But I mean, like, you gotta remember that episode where they went on the journey. It was him, Carolyn, and Brandon, and the two of them just completely ignored her, and then made this alliance that they did not even a little bit go to follow through on when they got to merge. For a second, there was never even a thought of that coming back.
Yeah.
Brandon really. Oof. He really got smoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God.
I will say,
I feel like it just came out of nowhere.
We had two like really good tribals in these episodes. A blind side, and then one where everybody was up walking around, whispering. It was very exciting. I don't know, where do we go from? Do you want to get into this Brandon? I do also want to mention, by the way, obviously, so Danny, the whole like Danny targeting Lauren thing and then her outlasting him. But just the fact that in that competition, you had Lauren up there against Danny, Brandon, and Kane, and she came out on top. I was very happy to see that.
Yeah.
For
Also,
sure.
safety issue. I didn't love that they're going to be falling on wood afterwards. Like, what was that? Is that like is that normal?
I mean, the Australian
stand?
Survivor, they do those crazy challenges
Well,
at the end, and then
don't
they
get me
fall
started.
onto the
Don't get me
rocks.
started on Australian Survivor. They put our people through too
I
much.
don't- it didn't
Okay,
even-
this is a
Yeah,
TV
that is
show. at the
hell.
end
That
of the
game is
day.
hell.
It
Yeah,
didn't
listen. I
even-
was
it didn't
complaining
even
all season
strike
about
me
the
as
treatment of
weird.
my friends. So, like, no, I don't know. I don't think you should be falling on wood. Like, put a net under there, some
Yeah, that was
sand.
rough.
Yeah, I thought that was a little much.
Yeah, it honestly didn't. I didn't even phase me. I think because I'm like, oh, they're not falling onto jagged rocks. Perfect.
Yeah. I do agree with you. I do agree with you, though, Kyle. That honestly did make me a little nervous. Like, I was picturing myself
Right.
falling and thinking I would get hurt. And, like, it almost makes me wonder how there's not more injuries. Because, it almost reminds me of, like, you know how, like, back in the day, every single playground was made out of, like, wood and metal on concrete. Everybody's getting splinters. You're falling onto concrete. And now every playground is like rubberized and has sand, and it's like much safer. Whereas like all these Survivor challenges feel like you're split seconds away from a terrible injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The wood chips that used to be on playgrounds.
Yeah.
Stuck in you.
Love us, I guess. I'm like, damn, you don't care if I'm getting splinters left, right, and center.
Listen, you'd go down. You remember those slides that had like the rollies on them? That's Survivor. Is I mean,
man.
I will say though, for this one, they didn't seem to be that high up.
No.
So there must be like a height that they have, like where it's like, okay, once they're this high, we need to have like this. I don't know. They side waivers.
Yeah. I you know what just kills me in these the competitions where they have to stand on these like incredibly small little things. Like, I don't know if my feet could take it. Like,
oh my god, no!
just
I was in
picturing
pain
that stuff
watching.
just like dig into my feet.
Oh,
I just can't even
literally
imagine.
like this big. I was in pain watching them do it. I don't know how they're doing it.
And that little sliver on the bottom, like, what the hell was that? I was like, that's not even anything. That's nothing. You're basically just in here like this.
Yeah.
Like, that's not anything.
Look, by the time they got to like the first move down, I was like, you're already not how are there like more of these? That's the least you can give them.
Jeff said enough with these challenges running for hours and hours. I want them done.
Said, I'm tired. I want to go take a nap. Give me a shorter competition.
Yeah. Well, I think that second immunity challenge too in episode 9, we were down to Franny and Danny, and Jeff made a comment like we're 5 minutes into this competition, and it didn't look like it went that much longer after that. I wonder how different that competition might have been if it wasn't for
the rain,
the insane weather conditions we had. The rain, wind.
They had that one competition where they outlasted the tides, and he was like, "We can't do this anymore. Get him out of here."
Yeah. All right, whoever's left, you all just win.
Yeah, between the rain and just like the awful weather and the fact that they had 4 people shit out of it, it was done and done real quick, done and dusted.
Yeah.
But nice to see Franny with another one. I'm surprised that she's doing so well.
She's
very
killing
proud
it.
of her. Yeah, she's killing it in the challenges. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought it? Way to go, Franny.
And we had in the post-merge eliminations now, we've had Franny win, right? We had Lauren win, and then Franny again. Because even though Brandon also got individual immunity in that other one, Franny outlasted him. So as far as I'm concerned, it's gone Franny, Lauren, Franny now, which also is awesome to me. But Danny keeps coming very close in a lot of these.
He's been second twice in a row.
Yeah. But man, all right. Should we get into this Brandon blindside a little bit?
Yeah, let's.
Hell yeah.
Right. So Ratu came in to this feeling very confident that they could just throw all the votes on Franny. No issues whatsoever. And as soon as, Tika and Soka started talking a little bit, it's funny that I'm still using their like pre-merge tribe names so much, but I feel like it's still very much a divided game.
They are too, yeah.
They are.
But so Soka and Tika said, no, Danny's got an idol. He's going to use it on Franny, and we're going to get Brandon out of here. What did you think of this blindside?
Loved it.
I mean, well done, honestly. Hilarious
This
that
is the
Danny again immediately lost all interest in that alliance that they made on the little adventure. But no, it was well done. I mean, it really, and it keeps Tika in the position that they want to be in because they didn't betray either side, really. You know, like Brandon went home, so like Ratu is fine, and or Soka's whatever, it doesn't matter. But either way, they're still in the position that they were in, where they're still in the middle. They still go either way. They didn't piss anybody off. So, well done.
Yeah.
Right. Now, but going forward now, we keep talking about now how, you know, Tika is in the middle. Like, there is no middle, and this is how people are playing this going forward. Like, I don't know why is still nobody realizing that now everything is even. Like, Danny even said, like, after this move, we did it to make sure that everyone was even. Blah, blah, blah. Same numbers. And now we're still acting as if, like, you know, it's still Ratu and what is it? Soka. I'm still learning these things. I thought we were going to get rid of this pet merge. We shouldn't be still using these names. But like, why are they going at each other still? Like, get over it. Maybe you should be looking over here.
Yeah.
At the people that are in the middle. In the middle. Like, because there is no middle anymore. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. It's weird. Like, get off it now.
Franny tried to say that. She was like, we are gonna, you know, Ratu and Soka are gonna continue to pick each other off, and then we're all gonna be sitting in jury while Tika. So that's all that's left in the game. Danny told her she was being illogical.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And I think he's being blinded by these advantages that are out there. So, because that's his whole thing is that we're all even, but Tika doesn't have any advantages. Ratu still has all the advantages, but.
More concerning that they've lasted this long without them. Like, they haven't needed advantages. That makes them more dangerous.
It was funny to me. Jam had some funny moments because he kept saying, "Oh yeah," he called himself 007. He's a little spy, you know. But like, he was mentioning the fact that all the people that have voted for him at some point are out of the game.
Yeah.
Whether that was Josh, or Matt, or Brandon. And now at the end of episode 9, when we see Kane leave, anybody writes Jam's name down, they go home.
Going full Sandra on them.
Yeah, right. But, you know, and of course it's interesting now too, because the extra vote's been used, but people aren't necessarily going to know that Jamie's idol is no longer in the game. Like, I wonder how that will factor in, because you know, Lauren might be the only person that knows, because Lauren might have known that Jamie, you know, she was handing her extra vote off to Jamie. So she probably knows that Jamie was handing off her fake idol to Kane. So even though it was a fake idol, people still in there thought that Jamie had an idol. Most of them probably didn't know that she handed it off to Kane. So like, do you think that's still going to play a factor in how people look at Jamie?
It could. I don't know, because she also could be the kind to let it slip that she doesn't have the idol anymore. Like, I'm not confident that she's gonna be able to play it off as if she still has it. It's also, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's in her best interest to either.
No,
because a lot of people. Well, she made a comment that people kind of knew about her idol, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, I don't know. It might be in her best interest to let people know, like, hey, I was nervous about a knowledge is power advantage being out there, so I gave it to Kane, and it's gone. And then at least then Lauren can, like, you know, give the thumbs up on it,
corroborate it. Yeah,
you know, can verify. You know,
get the target off her back.
Check. Yeah. Maybe.
And now we have another idol in the game now too.
We do have another idol.
Oh yes,
right.
And I don't think she told anybody, right?
No,
she kept that totally secret.
Mum's the word.
Finally, someone not telling people.
Finally, thank you.
And Carolyn still has one too.
Carolyn.
Oh,
right?
Is she?
Oh my goodness! I forgot about that. I believe you are correct.
She never used
Does
it.
she
Right?
really?
She never used it. She never used it.
I forgot she had one.
Carolyn has a hidden immunity idol. I forgot all.
Wow.
So Carolyn and Heidi, yeah.
So much for Tika not having those advantages, huh?
Shit.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Wow, that's fantastic. I love that. Oh my god. Okay, that's awesome. But so here's something that's interesting to me. At the last tribal we saw in these 2 episodes when Kane went home, there was something interesting. Franny voted for Jamie. What do you think? What was that about? Do we know why that happened? Like, it was just kind of out of nowhere to me.
Was she the only one?
Yeah, Franny. So I wrote down the votes because that tribal in particular was crazy. People were getting up, people were walking around, people talking about how they had no idea,
chaos.
What was going on. And so majority of people obviously still voted Heidi, and so Danny got 1 vote, Heidi got 3, Jamie got 1 vote, Kane got 5. But we had heard people's names. We had heard Danny's name and Heidi's name out there about splitting votes on them. We had heard a lot of people saying Kane's name. But it was interesting to me that Franny went Jamie.
I wonder if in the chaos they decided with maybe Tika to split votes on Jamie instead of somebody else. And then Tika then would have went back and voted all for Kane anyway. Is that possible?
Yeah, I assumed it was some kind of like splitting the vote situation.
I would imagine it was some sort of failed split vote that was happening there
or she threw in a rogue vote to freak people out,
Right. Certainly possible. But I do wonder if that could have an effect on whether or not Jamie tells people. Because I do actually kind of agree that maybe the smart thing to do for Jamie, if she's been thinking that people are worried about her having an idol, I could see it being a smart thing for her to then go and say, oh, I actually don't have my idol anymore. I gave it to Kane and then he got voted out, so it left with him. But now that somebody's written her name down, I don't know if she would want to say that, because if she thinks that people are thinking that they might want to vote her out, like maybe she still wants people to think that she does have an idol. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but like we said, the idol is a target, right? So people are going to be trying to flush it the second that you find out you have the idol. So if you don't have the idol anymore and you tell people that, then at the very least, they're not trying to flush it anymore. So that those votes are not going to be on you. Whereas, like, if they decide it's your time to go, you're getting votes. Mm-hmm. But at the very least, if she tells everyone she doesn't have it, they stop putting her name down to flush the idol.
Yeah.
Ideally, at least.
What do you think it's been like for Jamie to watch these episodes? Like, because you know that when she was on that island and was playing this game, she was so pissed that her idol just walked out of the game. And then now to be watching all this back and know that it was all not real because the idol was fake. Do you think she's
that's how I felt
relieved?
with Matt too, when he was like, oh my god, it's right in my backpack, and then now like is watching it being like, oh, it wasn't real anyway, it doesn't freaking matter.
It's that combination of like relief and embarrassment. I feel like just like why I can't imagine watching myself back, like being like, I have an idol, and then watching it back and it's not real, and you're just like, what was happening in my brain?
Right. Yeah, at least you didn't play it.
Yeah, that's the thing. The relief of having not embarrassed myself at a tribal and like sent myself home because I thought I was able to say, like at least like that isn't what you're having to deal with. She got you.
That's totally true.
Have we addressed the fact that Carson voted for Kane? Like what happened to the Nerd Alliance? Just that was just fun filler right by the wayside.
That was same thing with Brandon and Danny. They went straight back to those tribal alliances. They never,
I don't know. I believed in the Carson and Kane thing a little bit more than I would have. If you would have told me like which one of those two things would have failed first, I definitely would not have gone with like Carson and Kane. Like,
yeah,
I thought that had good bones.
Yeah, I think
good bones.
It seems like the bond that at the very least that Carolyn and Carson have is very strong. I mean, if his tweets show up on my For You page, because that's a thing on Twitter now all the time, and he's like, he calls Carolyn his mom and like that kind of stuff. So it feels like they're just very close. And so I would imagine that anything any decisions that they're making together.
Yeah. It was interesting.
He did.
Oh, Kane threw Carson under the
Liz
bus.
said that, Kane
Right. To Danny, right?
Yeah.
I missed it. Did Carson?
Wait, yeah, I don't remember this.
Oh boy, how did I miss that?
I don't remember either.
Yikes! I just watched it today.
Well, it was interesting because we've talked about this. Liz says when he exposed that Carson. Oh, that's right, because Carson had warned Kane that his name was being put out there. That's right. I forgot about that. That's right. Thank you, Liz.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's been funny to watch because like that whole Tika, the Tika 3, right, of Carson and Carolyn and Jam Jam. Like we've talked about those three and how like we thought they could make a good trio going into merge, but we did actually talk about how Kane could maybe be in addition to that because of the connection that Carson and Kane made. And it is interesting to watch that all just kind of like blow up, because I'm not as surprised that Brandon and Danny, their little bro alliance, broke up, because they really only bonded over one little reward that they've received, getting some food, talking for the first time. But it felt to me like Carson and Kane made more of a connection. But when people were saying Kane's name, Carson said, he's open to anything. So,
right.
Yeah.
I think Carson's also playing that smart kind of anyone but me game a little bit, I would imagine.
Yeah.
He knows the game, and I think he knows that you can't always stick with the people you want to stick with. It's not always the best way forward for you.
Yeah. I wonder if Carson felt it all kind of like vulnerable too, because of just the fact that he has been sick, and maybe if there's another competition where you have to work in pairs, he's a liability or something like that. I don't know. So he's just going to go along with whatever people say.
Yeah. But
do you think that Carson and Carolyn are the strongest, like their relationship is the strongest of any pair that's left in the game? I almost can't even think of any strong pairs in there.
It was Matt and Franny, and with them gone.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that I don't think there's really any pairs in the other tribes anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So that seems to be the strongest bond in the game.
It's going to be interesting too because on the next for episode 10, there's a little clip of Carson saying, "I just have to figure out who to betray." And it's like, is he talking about Carolyn or Jam Jam, or is he talking about somebody else? Is he, when I think of him betraying some, yeah. If Carolyn and Carson's bond is as strong as we're thinking it is,
right,
I would think it has to be Jam Jam. Yeah, which would kind of suck, but
I know.
But I love Carolyn so much. I have to say too, like her whole segment, because we've seen that she's a drug counselor and everything, but she had like some really great moments in these episodes where she talked about her whole journey, and it really definitely, I know we get segments sometimes where people will talk about their stories and their journeys, but Carolyn seems like such an incredible person to me.
Yeah.
And
I love her.
And like I feel like, of course, because social media sucks, like you've seen a lot of people like say like, oh, she's a drug counselor, seems like she's more like a drug user. It's like shut the hell up, okay? Like you don't know what this person's been through. And like she seems I am so happy for her. Like she seems like so happy now, like, and she's just so confident and comfortable just being herself. Like how many of us, right, like when you're around other people outside of your immediate circle, like will kind of rein things in and not really be yourself, but when you're in your private moments with your closest people, you can kind of open up more. Carolyn is just so unafraid to be herself around anybody, whether she's in front of a bunch of strangers in some random place, or she's at home, or if she's on national television. Like she is just going to be herself, and I absolutely love that about Carolyn.
Yeah,
I think it seems too that she's really starting to grow on a lot of the tribe too, in a way that she's gone from sort of the like kind of crazy, annoying, untrustworthy kind of like oddball in the back to like sort of now being a fixture within the tribe, which I think is not totally intentional by her, but also just like a smart way to play the game. It's as much as like it's about like making those moves and winning the challenges and all of that. Like, it's also about, like, at the end of the day, it's about the social game. It's about the friends you make and the connections that you make with everybody in the tribe in order to get them to give you $1 million at the end. Especially because
and
sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, especially because like nowadays, like a lot of those big moves that people make get them voted out the next tribal.
Yeah. Now, do you think some of this stuff from Carolyn, and I think it's all positive, but like, do you think it could get her in trouble? Because it's interesting that we got a segment of Carolyn really opening up about everything, about her life and her journey and her story. And Franny was somebody that took it very positively and said that she felt like Carolyn was someone that she could really learn from. And I think of Franny as like a very intelligent person.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
And Franny said that, Carolyn was someone that she feels like someone that she can learn from. But then it wasn't that long after that Franny was going to Danny saying we should split votes on Carolyn and Jam Jam. And it's like, as Carolyn sort of progresses in the game and gains more respect and more agency in the game, as we like to say, could that end up getting her in trouble?
Yeah, absolutely. There's always a possibility of that. I don't know. I've got faith though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a toss up because if people see that you're that likable, they're not going to want to take you to the end because you're too likable. But I don't know. It could go either way.
I think too. People are always like, the way they look at the game is, do I think I can beat them? And whether sometimes they weigh the social game and sometimes they weigh the strategic game, and it just depends on what they view to be more important, what they think the jury is going to view to be more important too.
That's the thing that's so crazy about the season, is because while we know that she's playing an amazing strategic game, they don't. And we've also seen she's not great in challenges, so they like have been underestimating her the entire season. But it's like she's such a well-rounded player, and all they're really seeing is like, oh, she's a likable person, but she's not a threat, which is crazy because she's the biggest threat in there.
Yeah. She is very smart. Like, everybody immediately, right, when Tika and Soka, or no, Tika and Ratu were talking about who to take out, right, and Kane's name was coming up, and Carson and Jam Jam are coming to her saying like, oh, should we get Kane out? Should we get Kane out? And she's going, no, I want to get Danny out. Like, why are we not getting Danny out? He just used his idol, so we know he doesn't have one anymore. Unless he has a second one. I mean, I guess they don't really know for sure, but like, he just used an idol, so it's very likely he doesn't have one. He's been doing very well in these competitions, even if he hasn't necessarily come in first place in an individual immunity challenge. And like, she was obviously left out of that whole bro thing between Danny and Brandon. We saw Brandon leave. Carolyn sees an opportunity to get Danny out. Were you surprised that more people weren't looking at Danny and like going after Kane, who has not competed as well in these competitions? I know people think that Kane is sneaky and strategic and all that, but we've seen Danny is just as sneaky and strategic, and he's doing well in these competitions. I was
definitely surprised about that. Yeah,
I think it probably came down to tribe numbers to evening it out. They probably felt that at that point it was more important to even out the tribes, even out the playing field, even out the game, rather than knock one tribe down to 2 while the other still has 4, because then that shifts the dynamic like in a crazy way. Whereas they get Kane out and then everything's level. That's where my brain would have went, at least.
It's interesting. Well, because now with Kane leaving, Ratu actually in these 2 episodes went from having 4 players where Soka and Tika had 3. And now with Brandon and Kane leaving, it's now Soka and Tika with 3 players left and Ratu with 2 players left. So how the mighty fall in just the span of 2 tribals,
What's kind of interesting is that now we're talking a lot about like what the tribe names were like pre-merge, and like, is there a world where we're starting to kind of enjoy this format, maybe just a little bit, like with the way that this game is shaking out? Because like, we kind of went into this merge a little bit more even than we have before. You have like one tribe that gets completely decimated, and that makes this merge not fun. But now you've got these built-in alliances. Like, it's kind of fun to have these sort of even numbers and these people that now feel forced and like kind of compelled to work together for no other reason than they were just on the same tribe.
Yeah, I still think 3 is a little too many for the amount of people that we start with, because when we get into those tribals, there's not really enough people to see alliances forming within those tribes. So I think, like, I'm not against the 3-tribe format if we start with more players, but I think, like, while I do enjoy it at this stage of the game right now, earlier on, like, there just wasn't enough to, like, keep us engaged of, like, oh, where's it gonna go? What's gonna happen? Because all it really takes is one vote to kind of screw things over, you know?
It's also like, but like you were saying too, it's like these are the alliances they were forced into rather than the alliances that they really formed on their own. You know, like I don't think there's a world where Danny and Franny end up as alliance members if
but I think you don't think that's interesting? I mean
it's interesting, but it's also to me, like, it doesn't feel like there's any real loyalty there. Like, he saved her because she's a number for him, not because she's necessarily someone that he wants to be working with. You know what I mean? I guess that's like kind of always the case, but it just like,
I mean, it's also like I don't know. I feel like that it makes it like the game. I think that if you're able to force different types of people together like that, you could find some more interesting alliances. Like, yes, to that point, it would be certainly more interesting for it to be a longer season. So you can kind of see that play out more. But no, you wouldn't get a Danny and a Franny working together. So what is Franny bringing to the table that Danny's missing, where Danny would normally like want to align with a Brandon? You could end up with some real like power duos that like were like, hey, you know what? This actually worked out pretty well.
The unlikely duos.
Yeah,
it is interesting to see people like Danny used his idol
for Franny,
and it's like it's interesting to see people being forced into a position where they have to use their advantages to save people out of desperation rather than trying to save them because that's who they naturally gravitated to.
Yeah, it's like, I'm using my idol on you because I got you. That's my brother. It's like, no, honestly,
yeah.
Best game move is to give this to her. How crazy. Would you ever imagine, like, you know, using your idol on someone that you don't even really like care about?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like, even if I was ever gonna play my idol, it's for me. And like, maybe my best island buddy.
Right.
But like, I'll be dead and I play for that girl over there. Like,
right.
That's kind of cool.
Like, we watched Danny use his idol to save Franny and send out someone who might be a more natural ally in a different type of game. You know, Danny sends out Brandon by using his idol for Franny. And now in the very next episode, Franny is coming to Danny with an idea and he's calling her illogical. He just saved her with his idol.
Yeah.
I know. I think that's kind of fun. But I think it's only fun because also we can kind of compare it like to Australian. And it's like, I don't feel like I'm missing what I consider to be the better version of Survivor. Like, this almost now feels like the spinoff. It's like, oh, it's interesting how they do it in America. Yeah, oh, the Americans, they do it like that. And that's fun. That's cute. Now back to basics.
Yeah.
If you look at it like that, you know, it's kind of fun. This is like the American is like Big Brother over the top.
Yeah.
Unsparkly thing over there.
You're right. Like, I don't necessarily dislike this format. I don't
know. I'm enjoying how it's shaking out this season. I think it's working this time.
Right.
I think what it comes down to too is like it's the casting, because everybody that they cast is fun and interesting to watch. Sure. There's not really anybody that
you're rooting against, or
I don't even from the start, I don't really think there was anybody where I was like, this person is not entertaining, you know? Right. And because we've got this great group of people that we're interested in regardless of like what else is going on, I think that's sort of where nothing more to say. I'm just
Oh, Matt Blevins. We love rumors. Matt Blevins says, I've seen rumors that 45 is back to 2 tribes. That could be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, right as I start to like it.
Right.
I'm like,
as soon as Kyle gets on board, they're like, shut it down.
It's like, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind the 3 tribes, but I still feel like in the beginning of this season, I wasn't as high on the season as I am now, and I think that a lot of it has to do with casting and just the way some of the game has gone, and,
Yeah,
like,
it's been fun.
at the beginning of the game, I wasn't super high on a number of things, but, like, now with how we've gotten to the point we're at, like,
Mhm.
I'm really enjoying the season now, but I still feel like if we're gonna start with 3 tribes, like, and I know it was a COVID thing, right? That the cast was trimmed down to 18, and I wonder
I believe
if,
so, yeah.
right, like, I would love a season to start out with 3 tribes, and it's 8 people per tribe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, then you need at least 4 people to even have just a half of that tribe, whereas now you get 4 people against 2 in a 6-person tribe.
Yeah.
All right, well, we know what's gonna happen now.
Right. Right.
I want bring back the themes too. Give me Brains
Yeah.
Beauty Brawn. Give me Gen X versus Millennials. The themes are fun.
Yeah, they are fun.
Yeah, I didn't think that was something I was going to like about Survivor, but I do enjoy that.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I also have to say, because we've talked about idols a lot, you guys, I've mentioned this a lot on the season, but like how I don't always love how it feels like Survivor US, like there's a lot of gimmicks around the idols, right? Like last season it was the making the bracelets with everybody's beads, which I didn't hate. Like I liked watching players like have to collect all the beads and how they went about doing that. Like that was interesting. And then we got the birdcage thing this year, and it's like whether I like the gimmick or not, I'm like I just feel like I'm tired of the gimmicks always, and it felt like in
butterflies are dead relatives, and all that bullshit.
Exactly. And then this episode, we get an idol that goes back into circulation because Danny used his on Franny, and now you just have this big merged tribe. Everybody's running around the beach looking for an idol, and like that's how I want to see idols be found. You know what I mean? And I'm like, can we just get back to that a little bit too? Throw in a gimmick here and there when you want, but like,
yeah, I'm still bitter about that one where it was like everyone goes on a journey. Oop, you all get an idol. Okay, goodbye. And it's like, what? So just because I got on this little boat, I just get an idol?
Yeah.
Well, I'm changing my opinion on some of these twists and things.
Wow.
I'm not going like totally hard, but I on it. But like it's more like if it was longer, I think I could appreciate them more because I think some of these twists are enjoyable. I like the birdcage thing. I no longer hate that you put people on a boat and just gave them an idol. Because at the same time, like, people are nervous. Oh, should I go? Should I not go? Risk reward. I don't know. And it's like, well, I mean, now it is going to be more appealing. Now the next people to go, once they find out, oh, they got an idol, I'm getting on the next boat. And then I don't know, they get fucked some way. That's kind of fun. So like if you could just make it longer and then you can do like the real idol searches in between. Like you like make it more like a flashy thing instead of like every time you turn around, it's a gimmick. Like just spread it out some. But I don't know. I don't want to get rid of
the variety is what's missing.
Yeah. But I am kind of getting into them. I'm getting into them.
Okay. I have a couple of questions here. So the giving idols to the people that had to go off on their boat trip, right? Do you like that it was such a short-lived idol? Or would you still have preferred that they lasted longer, those idols, rather than just being dead after?
They all expired before they got used. Lame.
Right. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, but then he got voted out the next tribe anyway.
Oh, yeah.
In a longer game, I mean, then you can have this last longer. I do like that there's an expiration date. I like that it doesn't last as long as a regular idol, because you didn't actually do anything to earn it, right? Like, I don't think it should be. It's like an idol light.
Yeah.
That's
a half idol, if you will.
Yeah, a mini idol.
Yeah,
junior.
So that was my first question, though. And I agree. It is better in a longer game than if it lasts longer. But the other thing is, I feel like we get a lot more reward challenges in like a game like Australian Survivor, right? We see a lot more like rewards where people will go and they get to get baked goods or they get to have whatever type of meal that they get to have. But I feel like in American Survivor, we do a lot more of, all right, we have 3 tribes, so 2 win immunity, right? And then 1 has to go to tribal council. Would you be interested in an idea where the two tribes that win immunity, and some of these immunity challenges, they're also reward challenges, where the two tribes that get immunity also get the reward, and now they get to eat, which means they also get to spend more time together and potentially build alliances, or maybe there's friction between people in these tribes. So you're coming in with either allies outside of your tribe or enemies that you've made at some of these rewards.
You're saying like the tribes would go together to the reward?
Yes.
I could be into that because I think I miss the rewards because I think there's a lot of strategy that happens at those reward challenges, and in post merge, like it's all about like who you take when you win, like who do you take to the spa with you? How does that affect your game? So I think that could be really interesting to have those tribe merge, because like now this other tribe is not only worrying about going to tribal council, but they're worried about any bonds that could be getting made at this reward challenge. Speaking is hard, dude.
I think you're doing a great job, though.
Thank you so much. I think that's a really interesting idea. I like that.
Because like even in Australian Survivor on the latest season, I know that there was one competition, I think that, or it was the auction, I think, right, where George got that, King George got the reward of like going on that little trip or whatever, where they got to have like a nice meal together, and he picked one person from his tribe and one person from the opposing tribe, and now you have people from two tribes intermingling together. And it's like, I think it would be interesting, all right, if we're going to have two tribes win immunity here, throw a reward into one of these challenges, and now the two tribes that get to have the immunity also get to share reward, and maybe you see different things popping up there. And then if there's another immunity / reward challenge and two different tribes win, now they get to interact and still are immune, but also have kind of an experience outside of their tribes as well. I don't know. I think it could make it extra interesting when everybody merges together later on.
Get Jeff on the phone. Let him know. Jeff, buddy.
Buddy.
Hey, Jeff, buddy.
I would call Jeff Rose buddy the first time I met him. Absolutely. He seems like the kind of guy that likes being called buddy.
Yeah, I think he would accept that.
Yep. But wow, okay. So we had Brandon leave, we had Kane leave. We've got I think 8 people left now. I think we're down to 3, 3, and 2 in each tribe. So
yeah,
that's how I did that now.
Yeah. There you go.
Michael.
Ratu has been getting torn apart. Went from 4 members to 2 members in a matter of 2 episodes. So yeah, what do you guys? Any thoughts on where we go from here? Any additional thoughts that you have, or I think I'm done with these last 2 episodes. I think I've said everything I wanted to say about episodes 8 and 9.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm curious for you guys. Who are our winner picks? Is it Carolyn all around?
Carolyn or Franny for me.
Franny, yeah. I like Carson to win too. I'd say one of those 3.
Yeah.
And I also like Jam Jam. I like everybody. That's my problem.
I don't think anybody's talking about Heidi enough.
We just don't get as much as her.
I don't know. I like Heidi. I don't know what it is. I just think she's a nice lady. She's got an idol. She's not telling anyone. Maybe more to come from Heidi.
Yeah,
the under-edited ladies, they come up.
Yeah, you're right.
So we'll see.
And
justice for Heidi.
Heidi is definitely one to watch, especially because of the fact that she found an idol in the same episode where she then got 3 votes at Tribal. And it's just, her name was out there. She does have this idol now, and I'm definitely very interested to see what happens with Heidi. But I think that right now, Carolyn is who I want to win. I think that Franny's got a good chance. I don't know.
She does. People have good arguments here.
I feel genuinely it could be anybody's game at this point.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of ways it can go.
Danny could have a chat. Sure.
I honestly could see Heidi or Lauren taking it too.
There's so many ways it could go right now.
Yeah. Oh wow. Well, I'm excited. What do we get?
Blevin.
Matt.
Last time Kyle started standing a weirdly edited older person, Galen fucking won. So let's calm it down. That is true. I was like, y'all ain't talking about Gabler. I don't know.
The way my brain rejected that as a season. That's why I was confused about Xander before. My brain said Gabler never happened. That season doesn't exist. That was 2 seasons ago.
So funny.
Oh, poor Jesse, man.
Oh,
Jesse.
God.
No.
Wow. Oh man. Well, I think that's all I got. Anybody have any other final thoughts? Anything else to add for the benefit of the community?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, what do we have coming up? This Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be discussing the latest week in the Big Brother Canada Season 11 house, which things have been pretty wild over there. So we'll be talking about that this Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then next Monday, we will be discussing the latest 2 episodes of the Challenge World Championship. So that's what we'll be doing. That is what we'll be doing Thursday and then Monday. If you want to find us on the socials, you can do so at Strat Chat Pod. Check us out, on social media, Instagram, Twitter, places like that. Throw us a like, a subscription, a comment. Go to YouTube. We're on there too. Check us out. You might be watching us on YouTube right now. It's possible.
I hope so.
Or go to our website, www.stratchatpod.com. Oof. We are Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. All right. We're going to be seeing you very soon, folks. All right. We got a lot of opinions and things to share. So
I thought we were leaving.
We are right now.
Unhinged send off.
Everybody just calm down. All right.